Grace's hand froze on the hospital bed rail. Through the bathroom door, her husband's voice drifted out. Low, intimate, wrong. Just a few more weeks and I'll be free. The doctor says she won't make it through delivery. 31 weeks pregnant with twins, dying from a condition that could kill her at any moment. And her husband was counting down the days until she was gone. But that was just the beginning. Because Derek didn't just want her dead. He wanted to profit from it. $500,000 in life insurance, a mistress waiting in the wings, and a plan to take everything, including her daughters. What Derek didn't count on was Grace's will to survive, or the unexpected arrival of his biggest rival, a billionaire with his own tragic past, and an offer that would change everything. This is a story about betrayal, about survival, about a woman who refused to die just because her husband wanted her to, and about finding love in the most unexpected places. Something has to give, because Grace Holloway is done being the victim in her own story. Done being the dying pregnant wife her cheating husband wants to be rid of. She survived the night. She'll survive tomorrow, and the day after. However many days it takes. Her daughters kick, strong movements, fighters, just like their mother. Grace places her hands on her swollen belly, feels the life invade her. I've got you, she whispers. I promise, Mommy's got you. Morning arrives with the smell of hospital breakfast, eggs, toast, orange juice in plastic cups. Grace pushes the tray away. Her stomach twists, nausea from the medications, from the stress, from knowing too much and not enough all at once. Elena Rodriguez enters at 8 o'clock. Tall, confident, dark hair pulled back severely. She reads Grace's chart on the tablet. Frowns. Your blood pressure spiked 3 times last night, Dr. Rodriguez says. Talk to me. What's going on? Grace considers lying. Funded by her nonprofit, supported by Marcus, named after mothers who fight. The Grace Brennan Center for Maternal Wellness. Grace looks at the plaque. Her name, no longer Holloway. Brennan, new identity, new life. The center helps women in crisis, abusive marriages, difficult pregnancies, financial hardship, everything Grace experienced. Now she helps others survive, thrive, transform. Patricia stands beside her, holds Lily's hand, Emma in Marcus's arms. They came as family, to celebrate, to remember, to honor the journey. You did it, baby, June says, wipes tears. Sarah would be proud. Marcus nods. She would. You took pain and created purpose. That's beautiful. Grace thinks about the journey. 12 months ago, she was dying, betrayed, alone, hopeless. Now she's here, strong, loved, leading. The ceremony begins. Grace gives a speech, talks about survival, about refusing to let tragedy define you, about choosing to transform pain into power. She doesn't mention Derek by name, doesn't give him space in this moment. This is about survivors, not abusers. After the ceremony, Grace walks through the center, sees women in beds, pregnant, scared, alone. She stops at one room. Young woman, early 20s, crying. Hi, Grace says gently. I'm Grace. This is my center. The woman looks up. I don't have insurance, can't afford this. No one pays here, Grace says. That's the point. You focus on surviving. We handle everything else. Why, hey? The woman asks. Why help strangers? Because I was you once, Grace says. In a bed just like this, scared, alone, thinking I wouldn't make it. But I did, and you will too. The woman cries harder. My husband left, said I should have been more careful, that this baby is my problem. Grace's heart aches. It's not your problem. It's your blessing, and you're not alone anymore. She stays, talks, listens, offers hope. Exactly what Marcus did for her. Paying it forward. Yeah, paying it back. By afternoon, Grace is exhausted, emotionally drained, but fulfilled. Purpose-driven work is hard. Worth it, essential. They drive home. Marcus at the wheel, June in back with the girls, Patricia following in her car. Grace looks out window, thinks about everything. You okay? Marcus asks, glances at her. Yes, Grace says, smiles. More than okay, grateful. They arrive home. The estate no longer feels like Marcus's house. It's theirs. Guest house demolished last month. They combined households. Real family under one roof. The girls run ahead. 14 months old now. Walking, talking, growing. They know Marcus as dad, June as grandma, Patricia as Nana. Derek is absent, forgotten. He's still fighting, still trying to get visitation. But each appeal fails. The recordings haunt him. His reputation destroyed. Business gone. He lives in small apartment. Alone, bitter. Exactly what he deserves. Grace doesn't think about him much anymore. Doesn't give him power. Doesn't let past poison present. Tonight, they're hosting their real wedding. Small ceremony, intimate, garden behind the house, string lights, close friends and family. Nothing extravagant, just meaningful. Grace dresses in simple white dress, knee length, elegant. Marcus wears suit, navy, handsome. They stand before a minister. Repeat vows. I, Marcus Brennan, take you, Grace, to be my wife, not because of arrangement, not because of convenience, but because you're my choice, my partner, my love. I promise to show up every day, to fight for us, to love you and our daughters with everything I have. Grace cries, happy tears. I, Grace Brennan, take you, Marcus, to be my husband. You saved me when I was drowning. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. You chose me when I felt unchosen. I promise to love you, to honor you, to build this life with you, today, tomorrow, always. They exchange rings, new rings, meaningful rings. The minister pronounces them husband and wife, again, for real this time. Marcus kisses her, deep, long, promise, joy, love. Everyone cheers. Lily and Emma clap. They don't understand, but they feel the joy, the celebration, the love. The reception is beautiful. Simple food, good wine, laughter, stories. Finn gives toast, embarrasses Marcus with stories from their youth. Everyone laughs. June gives toast. To my daughter, the strongest woman I know, and to Marcus, the man who saw her strength when she couldn't. May you have lifetime of happiness. They dance, Marcus and Grace. First dance as real married couple. He holds her close, sways gently. Song is Sarah's favorite. Marcus chose it intentionally, honoring past while embracing present. Thank you, Grace whispers, for choosing me. Thank you for choosing me back, Marcus says, for giving me purpose, family, life worth living. We saved each other, Grace says. Yes, Marcus agrees. We did. The night continues. Eventually, guests leave. Just family remains. They sit around fire pit, talk, laugh, share memories. Lily climbs into Marcus's lap. Daddy, story. Marcus's eyes fill with tears. Every time they call him Daddy, he cries. He pulls Lily close. Emma joins. Both girls cuddle with their father. Chosen father. Real father in every way that matters. Marcus reads, his voice steady, warm. Grace watches. This is her family, her real family, built from ashes, stronger for the breaking. June and Patricia clean up, leave the young family alone. Grace sits beside Marcus, all four of them together, complete. Later, after girls are in bed, Grace and Marcus sit on porch. Same porch where everything changed, where Vanessa appeared, where Marcus first kissed her. Full circle. Do you ever regret it? Grace asks. Taking a chance on me? On this whole crazy situation? Never, Marcus says firmly. Best decision I ever made. Now, even though it's complicated? Especially because it's complicated, Marcus says. Easy things don't teach you, don't change you. This taught me I could love again, feel again, live again. That's priceless. Grace leans into him. I was so broken when we met. So was I, Marcus says. But broken things can be repaired, made stronger at the broken places. Japanese concept, Grace says, kintsugi, mending pottery with gold, making the breaks beautiful. Exactly, Marcus says. You're my kintsugi. Your breaks made you beautiful, strong, real. Grace cries, Happy tears, healing tears. I love you so much. I love you too, Marcus says. Always will. They sit in comfortable silence. Stars emerge. Night settles. Grace thinks about Derek, wonders if he knows what he lost, if he regrets his choices. Do you ever wonder about Derek? Marcus asks, reading her mind. Sometimes, Grace admits, but not with sadness, with indifference. That's the freedom. Not hating him, just not caring anymore. That's growth, Marcus says. From victim to survivor to thriver. You did that, all you. With help, Grace says. Lots of help. We all need help, Marcus says. No shame in that. Grace remembers the hospital room, Derek's phone call, the moment everything shattered. If someone had told her then that she'd end up here, happy, loved, thriving, she wouldn't have believed them. But here she is, against all odds. Despite everything, she survived, more than survived, she flourished. Marcus, Grace says quietly, thank you for everything, for seeing me, for choosing me, for loving me. Thank you for letting me, Marcus says, for trusting me, for building this life with me. They sit together, two broken people who found each other, who mended each other, who loved each other back to wholeness. Inside, the girls sleep peacefully. Tomorrow, Grace has meetings, nonprofit work, helping other women. Marcus has business, but they'll come home. To each other, to their family, to the life they built. Grace looks at Marcus, really looks, sees the man who saved her, who she saved in return, who became her partner, her love, her future. She had been dying when Derek left, but his leaving was what finally let her live, really live, not just survive, not just exist, but thrive, love, create, build, become. Grace Brennan, survivor, mother, wife, advocate, fighter, thriver. She smiles, leans into Marcus, feels his arms around her, safe, loved, home. This is happiness, real happiness, not the fairy tale kind, the earned kind, the fought for kind, the rebuilt from ruins kind. And it's beautiful, more beautiful for being real, for being hard-won, for being chosen every single day. Grace closes her eyes, breathes, loves, loves. The past doesn't own her anymore. Derek doesn't define her. Fear doesn't control her. She's free, finally, completely, beautifully free. And that freedom tastes like joy, like hope, like love, like everything she never knew she deserved but fought for anyway. The stars shine brighter. The night feels warmer. Life feels fuller. Grace Brennan is home, in every sense of the word, and she's never leaving. This is her story, her triumph, her beginning, and it's only just started. Grace thought her life was ending that night in the hospital. But sometimes the worst betrayals lead to the best transformations. Sometimes losing everything means gaining what you actually need, and sometimes the person who saves you is the one you save right back. If Grace's story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you of your own strength, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What moment resonated most? What would you have done in her situation? Your stories matter. Share them below. And if you believe in second chances, in survival stories, in love that heals instead of harms, hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more stories of women who refuse to be broken. Saying everything is fine, but Dr. Rodriguez's eyes are sharp, knowing. She's seen too many women pretend, too many women suffer in silence. I found out my husband is cheating on me, Grace says, while I'm dying while carrying his children. Dr. Rodriguez sets down the tablet, pulls up the chair Jennifer used last night. The vinyl cushion squeaks. First, you're not dying, Dr. Rodriguez says firmly. Severe preeclampsia is serious, very serious, but you're not dying, not on my watch. He thinks I am, Grace says. He's counting on it. Then he's an idiot, Dr. Rodriguez replies, and we're going to prove him wrong. Grace almost smiles. Almost. How? We deliver these babies, Dr. Rodriguez says, soon, maybe within 48 hours. Your numbers are too unstable. The babies are developed enough. 31 weeks is early. but we have an excellent NICU. They'll need support, but they'll survive. 48 hours. 2 days. Grace's hands shake. Will I survive? Who transformed pain into power, who chose themselves. Because every woman who finds her strength makes it easier for the next woman to find hers. Until next time, remember, you're stronger than you think, and you deserve better than settling. Thank you for listening. Rodriguez meets her eyes, doesn't look away. Yes, C-section, general anesthesia. I've done hundreds of these deliveries. You're young, healthy aside from the preeclampsia. You will survive this. And if something goes wrong, then we have protocols, Dr. Rodriguez says. But Grace, listen to me. I don't lose patience. I refuse to lose you. Whatever your husband thinks, whatever he hopes, it's not happening. The certainty in her voice helps, a little. Grace takes a shaky breath. When will you decide? I'm monitoring you closely, Dr. Rodriguez says. If your blood pressure stays this high, we deliver tonight. If it stabilizes, maybe we can buy you another day or two. Every day matters for the babies. Grace nods, understands. But another thought creeps in. Dark, unwelcome. What if he tries something? De Rodriguez leans forward. What do you mean? What if he tries to hurt me or the babies? He wants this to end. What if he doesn't wait for nature to take its course? Do you genuinely believe he would physically harm you? De Rodriguez asks carefully. Grace thinks, really thinks. Derek is selfish, cruel, a liar. But violent? She doesn't know, doesn't want to know. But the insurance policy Derek tried to take out, the life insurance Marcus mentioned, $1 million. I don't know, Grace whispers. I don't know what he's capable of anymore. De Rodriguez stands. I'm putting a note in your chart. No visitors except immediate family you approve. Your mother, that's it. If your husband shows up, we can let him in or turn him away. Your choice. Let him in, Grace says. If I turn him away, he'll know I know. And I need time. Time to figure out what to do, where to go, how to protect my daughters. Okay, Dr. Rodriguez says. But Grace, I want you to talk to social service. They can help. With planning, with resources, with safety. Grace agrees, no, she should. But shame burns hot in her chest. How did she become this person? The woman who needs protection from her own husband. The woman who didn't see the signs. Who ignored every red flag because she wanted to believe in love. In marriage. In the man she chose. After Dr. Rodriguez leaves, Grace's phone rings. Her mother. June. Grace answers. Hi, Mom. Baby girl, how are you feeling? June's voice is warm, worried, loving. Grace breaks. The tears come fast and hard. Unstoppable. Mom, I need you. I'm on my way, June says immediately. 20 minutes. Less. Hold on. Grace holds on, counts the minutes, watches the clock. Time moves differently in hospitals. Slower, thicker, like moving through honey. June arrives in 18 minutes. She bursts through the door. Gray hair wild, no makeup, sweatshirt and jeans. She must have run out of the house the second the call ended. Tell me, June says. She sits on the edge of the bed, takes Grace's hands. Grace tells her everything. The phone call, the affair, the Instagram photos, the life insurance policy. June's face goes from shock to furious to protective. Her grip tightens on Grace's hands. That bastard, June says, that absolute bastard. What do I do? Grace asks. Mom, I don't know what to do. June takes a deep breath. First, you survive. You have these babies, you get strong. Then we figure out the rest. He'll take them, Grace says. He'll fight for custody. Say I'm unfit, I have no money. He has everything. He has nothing, June corrects. Nothing that matters. You have those babies. You carried them. You'll fight for them, and baby, you're a fighter. Always have been. Grace wants to believe her, wants to feel strong, but she feels small, broken, used. I should have seen it, Grace says. The signs were everywhere. Don't, June says firmly. Don't blame yourself for his choices. He lied. He betrayed you. This is on him, not you. But Grace replays the last few months anyway. Cannot stop herself. The memories flood in, sharp, clear, painful. 3 months ago, Derek started working late, every week, then every other night. Grace was tired. First trimester exhaustion with twins. She didn't question it. Trusted him. 2 months ago, Derek stopped touching her, stopped initiating intimacy, said he was stressed. Big project at work. Grace felt ugly, unwanted, blamed the pregnancy weight, the swelling, the changes to her body. 6 weeks ago, Derek forgot their anniversary, came home at midnight, smelled like perfume and wine, said there was a work party. Grace believed him, made excuses. He's busy. He's under pressure. It's a hard time, 4 weeks ago. Derek started arguments over nothing, Grace breathing too loud, the dishes not put away right, the house too messy, looking for reasons to be angry, reasons to justify what he was doing. 2 weeks ago, Derek changed the life insurance beneficiary, doubled the policy, told Grace it was responsible planning. They needed coverage with babies coming. Grace signed the papers without reading them carefully, trusted her husband last week. Derek started talking about Grace's health obsessively, pointing out every symptom, every complication, almost like he was documenting it, building a case. I was so stupid, Grace says. The signs were all there. You were trusting, June corrects. There's a difference. Trust isn't stupid. Betrayal is cruel. He's the monster here, not you. But Grace feels monstrous anyway. Monstrous for not seeing, for not knowing, for bringing two innocent babies into this nightmare. The door opens. Derek walks in, flowers in hand, roses, red, expensive, bought from the hospital gift shop downstairs. The cellophane crinkles. Good morning, sweetheart, he says. Then he sees June. His smile falters. June, I didn't know you were here. My daughter needed me, June says coldly. So here I am. Derek sets the flowers on the windowsill, approaches the bed. Grace's body tenses, every muscle tight, fight or flight. But she can't fight, can't flee, can only endure. How are you feeling? Derek asks. His hand reaches for hers. Grace pulls away, pretends to adjust the blanket. Tired, sore. Did you sleep? Not much. Awkward silence fills the room. Derek shifts his weight. June watches him like a hawk. Protective, fierce. Grace loves her mother fiercely in this moment. June, could you give us a minute? Derek asks. I need to talk to Grace, privately. No, June says flatly. I'm staying. Derek's jaw tightens. It's a private matter between husband and wife. Then it can wait, June replies. My daughter needs rest, not stress. Derek looks at Grace. Grace, tell your mother to leave. Grace meets his eyes, sees the stranger behind them. She's staying. Something flashes across Derek's face. Anger, frustration. Then the mask returns. Concerned husband. Fine, Gracie, he says. I just wanted to tell you that I closed the Riverside deal. The big one, $300,000. Commission. Grace's heart stops. The Riverside deal, the one Marcus Brennan let Derek have, because Derek said he needed it for his wife's medical expenses. That's wonderful, Grace says numbly. Congratulations. It means we're secure, Derek continues. The medical bills, the babies, everything. We're going to be fine. Lies, all lies. Derek isn't using that money for her, for their daughters. He's planning his escape, his new life, with Vanessa. I'm happy for you, Grace says. Each word tastes like ash. Derek leans down, kisses her forehead. Grace closes her eyes, endures the touch, counts the seconds until he pulls away. I have to run to the office, Derek says. Sign some paperwork, but I'll be back this afternoon, okay? Okay. He leaves. The room feels cleaner without him, like the air is easier to breathe. June explodes. Grace's hand freezes on the hospital bed rail. Derek's voice drifts through the bathroom door. Low, intimate, wrong. She lies perfectly still. The monitors beep steadily beside her. 31 weeks pregnant with twins, severe preeclampsia. The numbers on the screen glow red. Blood pressure 160/100. Dangerous, deadly. Derek's voice rises slightly. Grace holds her breath. Baby, I know this is hard, Derek says. Just a few more weeks and I'll be free. The doctor says she won't make it through delivery. The words hit like ice water. Grace's vision blurs. Her heart rate spikes. The monitor alarm screams. No, no, I promise, Derek continues. His voice is warm, tender, the way he used to speak to her. We'll be together, just hold on a little longer. Nurses burst through the door. Their shoes squeak on the linoleum floor. Hands touch Grace's shoulders. Someone adjusts the IV drip. Mrs. Holloway, your blood pressure, the night nurse says. That lying sack of... Mom, Grace interrupts. Not now. But June is right. Derek lied about everything. The money, the concern, the love, all of it fake. Performance, for appearance, for alibi, for whatever game he's playing. Grace's phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk about Derek, about what he's planning. Meet me, Marcus Brennan. Grace stares at the message. Marcus Brennan, Derek's rival, the man who gave Derek the Riverside deal, the man who knows something, and she shows June the phone. Who is Marcus Brennan, June asks. Derek's competition, Grace says, real estate. They hate each other. Why would he text you? Grace doesn't know, but she needs to find out. Because if Marcus knows something, if he has information, she needs it. Needs every weapon she can gather for the war ahead. She texts back, I'm in the hospital, Memorial, room 312. The response comes immediately. I'm in the parking lot. Be up in 5 minutes. Marcus Brennan arrives exactly 5 minutes later. Tall, 6'3" at least. Dark hair touched with gray at the temples. Expensive suit, perfectly tailored, confident walk. But his eyes are kind, sad. Old eyes in a young face. He carries flowers. Not roses, lilies. White, simple, elegant. Mrs. Holloway, he says, thank you for seeing me. Call me Grace, she says. This is my mother, June. Marcus shakes June's hand, nods respectfully, sets the lilies on the table beside Derek's roses. The contrast is stark. Derek's roses already wilting. Marcus's lilies fresh, alive. I don't have much time, Marcus says. Your husband might return, and I need to tell you something important. I'm listening, Grace says. Marcus pulls up a chair, sits, looks uncomfortable, like he's breaking some code, some rule of business warfare. Yesterday, I let Derek win the Riverside contract, Marcus begins. I could have outbid him, should have, but he called me, told me his wife was dying, that he needed the money for medical expenses, for his daughters. Grace's throat tightens. He said that? Yes, Marcus confirms. He begged me, said his insurance wasn't covering everything, that you needed experimental treatments, that without this deal, his family would be ruined. It was a lie, Grace whispers. I know, Marcus says. I know because my assistant did some checking. Your insurance is covering most expenses. Standard coverage, nothing experimental needed. Derek lied to get that contract. June makes a disgusted sound. Marcus continues. That made me suspicious, he says. So I looked deeper into Derek's finances, his activities. I know people. I called in favors. What did you find? Grace asks. But she already knows, can feel it coming. The final blow. 3 weeks ago, Derek tried to take out a life insurance policy on you, Marcus says. $1 million. He listed himself as sole beneficiary. The insurance company flagged it. Too much coverage. Too suspicious. They denied the application. The room spins. Grace grips the bed rail. $1 million. Derek tried to insure her life, wanted to profit from her death. So he tried again, Marcus continues. Different company, smaller amount. $500,000. This one went through. He has an active policy on your life, taken out 18 days ago. June stands abruptly. That son of a... Mom, Grace says weakly. Sit down. June sits, but her hands shake. Fury radiates from her. Marcus leans forward. Grace, I don't know your situation. Don't know what's happening in your marriage. But a man doesn't insure his wife's life for $500,000 unless he expects her to die soon. He's having an affair, Grace says. Might as well say it. Everyone will know eventually. I heard him on the phone last night. He told his mistress that I wouldn't survive delivery, that he'd be free soon. Marcus's face darkens. Did he threaten you? Explicitly? No, Grace says. He just sounded hopeful. That's enough, Marcus says. Grace, you need protection. Legal protection. Financial protection. I have nothing, Grace says. No kishum, no savings. Derek controlled all the money. That's financial abuse, June interjects. That's grounds for... For what? Grace interrupts. Divorce? He's already planning to leave me, probably waiting until I'm dead so he can play the grieving widower. Collect the insurance. Move on with his mistress. Marcus stands, paces, thinking, calculating, finally stops. What if I could help? He asks. Why would you help me? Grace asks. You don't know me. You hate my husband. Is this revenge? Some business move? No, Marcus says simply. It's because my wife died 3 years ago. Cancer. I watched her suffer, watched her die, and all I wanted was to save her, to protect her. I couldn't. But maybe I can help you. The honesty in his voice breaks something in Grace. Tears fall. She can't stop them. I don't need charity, she says through the tears. It's not charity, Marcus says. It's humanity, basic human decency. You're in danger. Your daughters are in danger. Let me help. How? Grace asks. What can you possibly do? Marcus sits again, looks directly at her. Let me hire you a lawyer, top family law attorney, someone who can fight Derek, protect your custody rights, make sure he doesn't take those babies. I can't afford that, Grace says. Consider it a loan, Marcus replies. Pay me back when you're on your feet. Grace wants to say yes, desperately wants to say yes, but pride holds her back. Why, Kay? Really, why would you do this? Marcus is quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is soft, sad. My wife's name was Sarah, he says. She wanted children. We tried for years, fertility treatments, IVF. Nothing worked. She died childless. It broke her heart more than the cancer. He pauses, swallows hard. You have 2 daughters, 2 lives depending on you. Sarah would have given anything for that chance. I won't stand by and watch Derek destroy what she would have treasured. The room is silent except for the monitors. Grace's heartbeat, the baby's heartbeats. 3 lives, connected. Okay, Grace whispers. Okay, help me. Marcus nods, pulls out his phone, makes a call. Finn, it's Marcus. I need you at Memorial Hospital. Room 312, now, it's urgent. He hangs up, looks at Grace. Finn Murphy, best family law attorney in the state. He'll be here in 20 minutes. Marcus, Grace says, thank you. I don't know how to repay this. Stay alive, Marcus says. Raise those daughters. That's payment enough. June wipes her eyes. Brennan, you're a good man. Just Marcus, he says, and I'm just doing what's right. They wait in comfortable silence. Grace's mind races, plans, strategies. For the first time since the phone call last night, she feels less helpless, less alone. Her phone buzzes. Derek. Be back at noon. Love you. Grace doesn't respond, just sets the phone aside. He's coming back at noon, she tells Marcus. You should go before then. Agreed, Marcus says, but I'll be around. Finn will help you file for emergency custody. Get a restraining order if needed. Protect you and the babies. Derek will be furious, Grace says. Let him be furious, Marcus replies. Fury reveals truth, and the truth is your weapon now. The door opens. A man enters. Red hair, freckles, expensive suit, briefcase, Irish features. Finn Murphy. Marcus, Finn says. What disaster have you dragged me into now? The kind that requires your particular talents, Marcus says. Finn, meet Grace Holloway. She needs your help, urgently. Finn sets down his briefcase, pulls out a legal pad, pen. Tell me everything. Grace does, every detail. The affair, the insurance policies, the phone call, the lies. Finn takes notes, asks questions, clarifies details. When Grace finishes, Finn looks grim. This is bad, really bad, but we can fight this. How? Grace asks. First, we file for emergency custody, Finn says. Before the babies are born, establish your rights, your fitness, document Derek's financial abuse, the affair, the insurance policies. Will it work? June asks. It's not guaranteed, Finn admits, but it's our best shot. We need to move fast today. I'm in a hospital bed, Grace says. How can I do anything? I'll handle the paperwork, Finn says. You just need to sign and testify. When you're able, we'll record your statement. Video deposition. Use it in court if needed. Grace nods, feels the weight lifting slightly. Okay, let's do it. Finn and Marcus exchange a look. Something passes between them. Understanding, friendship, trust. We'll give you some privacy, Marcus says. Finn needs detailed information, personal information. We'll be right outside. Marcus and June step into the hallway. The door closes. Grace and Finn are alone. Grace, Finn says gently, this is going to get ugly. Derek will fight. He'll say terrible things, lie, manipulate. Are you ready for that? No, Grace says honestly, but I don't have a choice. You always have a choice, Finn corrects. You can walk away, take Derek back, pretend this never happened. That's not a choice, Grace says. That's surrender. Finn smiles. Good. That's the attitude we need. Now let's build your case. They work for an hour. Finn asks questions. Grace answers. They document everything, build a timeline, gather evidence. By the end, Grace feels exhausted, wrung out, but also something else. Determined. Finn packs up his briefcase. I'll file the emergency custody petition this afternoon. We should have a hearing within a week. Her badge reads Jennifer, 20-something. Concerned eyes. We need you to breathe. Slow breaths, in and out. The bathroom door opens. Derek emerges. His face transforms in seconds. Concern replaces the smile. He slides his phone into his pocket, moves to Grace's bedside. Sweetheart, what's wrong? He asks. His hand covers hers, cold fingers, clammy. Are you okay? Are the babies okay? Grace stares at him. This man, her husband of 5 years, father of her unborn daughters. She opens her mouth. Nothing comes out. What can she say? I heard you. I heard everything. I know you want me to die. I'm fine, she whispers instead. Just a spike. Happens sometimes. Jennifer checks the monitors, adjusts the blood pressure cuff, types notes into the computer cart. The screen reflects blue light across her face. Your numbers are stabilizing, Jennifer says, but we need to keep you calm. Stress is dangerous right now for you and the babies. Derek squeezes Grace's hand. Can you hold on that long? I don't have a choice, Grace says again. You're stronger than you think, Finn says. Marcus saw that. It's why he called me. Why does Marcus care so much? Grace asks. Really? Is it just about his wife? Finn considers the question. Marcus is a complicated man, lost his wife, built an empire as a distraction. But underneath, he's just lonely, grieving, looking for meaning. Helping you gives him purpose. Don't overthink it. I don't want to be anyone's purpose, Grace says. I want to be my own person. Then fight, Finn says. Fight for those babies, for yourself. Show Derek he chose the wrong woman to betray. After Finn leaves, Marcus and June return. They sit with Grace, talk about mundane things, weather, hospital food, anything but the nightmare unfolding. At 11:45, Marcus stands. I should go, before Derek returns. Marcus, Grace says, why are you really doing this? He pauses at the door, looks back. Because 3 years ago, I couldn't save the woman I loved. Maybe I can save you. Then he's gone. The room feels emptier without him. June squeezes Grace's hand. That man is a godsend. Or he has an agenda, Grace says. Maybe, June admits, but right now his agenda helps you. So take the help. Grace knows her mother is right, but accepting help feels like weakness, like admitting defeat, like proving Derek right, that she's incapable, unstable, unfit. But then the babies kick. Strong, insistent, reminding Grace why she's fighting. Not for herself, for them. At noon exactly, Derek walks in. Derek carries lunch, takeout from Grace's favorite restaurant, Thai food, pad Thai and spring rolls. The smell makes Grace's stomach turn. I brought your favorite, Derek says cheerfully. Too cheerfully, like he's performing, auditioning for Husband of the Year. Thank you, Grace says. Takes the container. Doesn't open it. Derek sits beside the bed, studies her face. You look tired. I am tired, Grace says. I'm 31 weeks pregnant with twins and my blood pressure wants to kill me. Don't say that, Derek says, reaches for her hand. Don't talk about dying. Grace wants to laugh, wants to scream. Instead, she says, why not? You think about it. Derek's face goes blank. What? Nothing, Grace says quickly, too quickly. I'm just scared. Ignore me. But Derek doesn't ignore her. His eyes narrow, calculating. Has someone been talking to you? Like who? Grace asks. Keeps her voice steady. Light. I don't know, Derek says. Your mother, maybe, putting ideas in your head. What ideas? That I'm the bad guy here, Derek says. That I don't care. That I want something bad to happen. Grace's heart pounds. How does he know? Can he read minds, or is guilt making him paranoid? Mom hasn't said anything like that, Grace lies. She's worried about me, about the babies, that's all. Derek relaxes slightly. Good, because I love you. You know that, right? I know, Grace says, another lie, easier than the truth. They eat in silence. Grace picks at the pad Thai. Derek scrolls his phone, distracted. Somewhere else, run on. Grace's phone buzzes. A text from Finn. Papers filed. Hearing scheduled for Friday, 10 a.m. Can you make it? Friday, 2 days away. Grace types back. I'll be there. Derek glances up. Who's texting you? Mom, Grace says, asking if I need anything. Derek nods. Goes back to his phone. Grace deletes the text, clears the history. Can't be too careful. At 2 o'clock, Dr. Rodriguez returns. Checks the monitors. Frowns. Grace, your blood pressure is climbing again, she says. 155 over 100. We can't wait much longer. Wait for what? Derek asks. Stands. Concerned. Delivery, Dr. Rodriguez says. The preeclampsia is getting worse. We need to deliver soon. Maybe tonight. Derek's face goes pale. Tonight? But there are only 31 weeks. 31 weeks and 4 days, Dr. Rodriguez corrects. Viable, developed. They'll need NICU support, but they should be fine. Should be? Derek echoes. That's not very reassuring. Nothing about high-risk pregnancy is reassuring, Dr. Rodriguez says flatly. But waiting is more dangerous, for Grace and the babies. Derek runs his hands through his hair, agitated. This is too fast. I need time to prepare, to get things ready at home. There is no time, Dr. Rodriguez says. Grace could have a seizure, a stroke, organ failure. We deliver tonight or tomorrow at the latest. Grace watches Derek's face, sees the conflict, the calculations. Is he hoping she dies tonight? Or does he want more time? More time for what? Okay, Derek says finally. Whatever's best for Grace and the babies. But his voice sounds hollow, flat, like he's reading from a script. Rodriguez turns to Grace. I'm scheduling the C-section for 8 p.m. tonight. We'll do general anesthesia. You'll be asleep. Wake up with your daughters. Will I wake up? Grace asks, needs to hear it. Yes, Dr. Rodriguez says firmly. I promise you, you will wake up. Grace nods, wants to believe her, has to believe her. I need you to sign consent forms, Dr. Rodriguez continues, pulls out paperwork. Standard procedure, just covering all bases. Grace takes the papers, reads through them. Medical jargon, risks, complications, possibilities. One section stops her cold. In case of emergency, who do we save? Mother or babies? Grace stares at the question. Never thought she'd have to answer this. Never thought it would be real. What does this mean, she asks. But she knows exactly what it means. In an extreme emergency, Dr. Rodriguez says carefully, If we can only save one, who do we prioritize? Derek leans over, looks at the form. Save Grace, obviously. But Grace remembers Derek joking months ago when they found out it was twins. Trade one for two. Pretty good deal. He said it laughing, kissed her stomach. But now the joke feels sinister. Wrong. Save the babies, Grace says firmly. If it comes to that, save them. Grace, no, Derek says. That's crazy. You can have more children. But I can't get another you. Lies. He doesn't want her. Wants her gone. So why protest? Then Grace understands. Appearances. Derek needs to seem devastated if she dies. Needs to play the grieving husband. Can't let doctors think he wanted it. My decision stands, Grace says. Signs the form, firmly, no hesitation. Rodriguez takes the paperwork. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I'll see you at 8 p.m. Try to rest. After she leaves, Derek paces, agitated. You shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have said to save the babies. They're innocent, Grace says. I'm not. What does that mean? Nothing, Grace says. I'm tired. Can you let me sleep? Derek wants to argue. Grace can see it, but he nods. I'll go home. Shower. Get clean clothes. Be back before 8. Okay. He kisses her forehead. Leaves. Grace waits until his footsteps fade. Then she cries. Silent tears. For the life she thought she'd have. The husband she thought she knew. The family that's breaking before it even begins. June returns at 5. Brings an overnight bag. I'm staying until after the delivery. Thank you, Mom. They sit together, don't talk much. June holds Grace's hand, solid, real, anchor in the storm. At 7:30, the nurses come. Prep Grace for surgery, shave her abdomen, insert a new IV line, explain what will happen. You'll go to sleep, the surgical nurse says. Won't feel anything. Wake up in recovery. Your babies will be in NICU. You'll see them as soon as you're stable. How long until I wake up? Grace asks. An hour, maybe 2. Depends on how the surgery goes. An hour, 2 hours, a lifetime. Grace's hands shake. The nurse takes them gently. You're going to be fine, she says. Rodriguez is the best. Trust her. Grace nods, tries to trust, tries to believe. At 7:50, they wheel Grace to the operating room. The lights are too bright, the air too cold. People in masks and gowns surround her. Dr. Rodriguez appears, squeezes Grace's shoulder. Ready? No, Grace says honestly, but let's do it anyway. That's my girl, Dr. Rodriguez says. See you on the other side. The anesthesiologist puts a mask over Grace's face. Breathe normally. Count backward from 10. 10, 9, 8. Grace thinks of her daughters, wonders what they look like, if they'll have her eyes. Derek's smile. 7, 6. She thinks of Marcus, his kindness, his sad eyes, his promise to help. 5, 4. She thinks of Derek, the man she married, the stranger he became, the enemy he is now. 3. She thinks of herself, the woman she was, the woman she needs to become. 2. Darkness pulls her under, soft, complete, terrifying. 1. Grace opens her eyes. The ceiling is different. White tiles, fluorescent lights, beeping machines, recovery room. Pain hits, sharp, intense. Surgical pain. Her abdomen feels like it's on fire. A nurse appears, older, kind face. Welcome back, Mama. How do you feel? Did I survive? Grace asks. Her voice is raspy, throat raw from the breathing tube. You survived, the nurse confirms, and so did your daughters, 2 beautiful baby girls. Relief floods through Grace. Tears leak from her eyes. Are they okay? In the NICU, the nurse says. Doing well, breathing on their own. Just need monitoring. You can see them soon. How soon? Once you're stable, maybe an hour. Grace nods, closes her eyes. The pain medication pulls her under. In and out, in and out. When she wakes again, June is there, crying, smiling. You did it, baby, June says. You did it. Where's Derek? Grace asks. June's face clouds. He was here. During the surgery. I'm here, honey. I'm right here. Grace wants to scream, wants to rip her hand away, but she lies still, perfectly still. Because maybe she misheard. Maybe it was a business call. Maybe her pregnancy brain twisted innocent words into something sinister. But then she sees it. On Derek's collar, a smudge of lipstick, coral pink, not her shade. She doesn't own lipstick anymore. Her lips crack and bleed from dehydration, from the medications keeping her alive. You should go home, Grace says. Her voice sounds far away, hollow. Get some rest. You've been here all day. Derek's face shows relief, just for a second. Then the mask returns, devoted husband, worried father. Are you sure, he asks. I can stay. I want to stay. I'm sure, Grace says. I need to sleep anyway. The nurses will take good care of me. He kisses her forehead. His lips are cold. The cologne smells different, expensive, new. But when the babies were born, he left, said he needed air. Hasn't come back. Grace's heart sinks, but isn't surprised. Derek didn't want them to survive. Didn't want her to survive. Now he's somewhere planning his next move. Can I see them, Grace asks, my daughters? Soon, June promises. They're bringing a wheelchair. We'll go together. 20 minutes later, they wheel Grace to the NICU. The babies are in separate incubators. Tiny, so tiny, covered in wires and tubes, but alive, breathing, fighting. They're perfect, Grace whispers. They are, June agrees. Have you picked names? Grace hasn't. She and Derek talked about names, but never decided. Now Grace doesn't want Derek's input, wants to choose herself. Lily and Emma, Grace says, decides in that moment. Lily, June, and Emma Grace. June cries harder. You named one after me? You saved me, Grace. Grace says simply, it's the least I can do. They sit together, watch the babies. 2 small miracles. 2 reasons Grace survived. 2 lives depending on her strength. At midnight, Derek returns. Smells like alcohol. His eyes are red. Drunk or crying, Grace can't tell. There they are, he says, slurred words. My daughters. You're drunk, Grace says, disgusted. So what, Derek snaps. It's been a stressful day. Stressful, Grace repeats. I had major surgery. You got drunk. Don't judge me, Derek says. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. June stands, gets between them. You need to leave, now. I'm not leaving, Derek says. These are my daughters. And you're drunk in a NICU, June says. Security will remove you if I ask. Derek glares, but backs down, stumbles toward the door, turns back. This isn't over, Grace, he says. You think you won, but you haven't. Then he's gone. Grace and June sit in silence. The babies sleep, unaware of the war being fought over them. He's going to fight for custody, Grace says quietly. Then we fight back, June replies. But Grace wonders if fighting is enough. Derek has money, lawyers, connections. What does she have? Nothing except 2 tiny daughters and the determination to protect them. A nurse approaches, carries papers. Mrs. Holloway, these were delivered for you. Grace takes them, opens the envelope. Divorce papers, filed today. Derek's signature at the bottom. Grace reads, Kim's the legal language, stops cold at one section. Sole physical and legal custody of minor children, Lily June Holloway and Emma Grace Holloway, to petitioner Derek Holloway. He's trying to take them, take her daughters, before they're even a day old. Grace's hands shake. The papers fall. June picks them up, reads. Her face goes white. He can't do this, June says. Can he? I don't know, Grace whispers, but he's trying. The machines beep steadily. Lily and Emma sleep, innocent, unaware. Grace places her hands on their incubators, makes a silent promise. He won't take you, she says. I don't care what it takes. He won't take you from me. But fear gnaws at her, cold, relentless, because Derek has power, money, and Grace has nothing but love. She hopes it's enough. The next morning, Grace wakes to chaos. Her hospital room is full. Dr. Rodriguez, 2 nurses, hospital administrator, all talking at once. What's happening? Grace asks, groggy, confused. Dr. Rodriguez approaches. Grace, Derek tried to check you out of the hospital last night. What? He came back at 2 a.m., Dr. Rodriguez explains. Told the night staff he was taking you and the babies home. Against medical advice. Grace's blood goes cold. Did he? No, Dr. Rodriguez says firmly. The night nurse refused, called security. Derek became belligerent. They escorted him out. The hospital administrator steps forward, 50-ish, professional, concerned. Mrs. Holloway, we need to discuss safety protocols. Your husband is banned from this floor pending a psychiatric evaluation. He's not psychotic, Grace says. He's calculating. Regardless, the administrator says, we can't allow behavior that endangers patients, especially vulnerable ones. He served me with divorce papers, Grace says. Yesterday, he's demanding custody of my daughters. The administrator exchanges looks with Dr. Rodriguez. Do you have legal representation? Yes, Grace says. Finn Murphy. Good, the administrator says. Contact him immediately. We'll cooperate fully with any legal proceedings. After they leave, Grace calls Finn. He answers on the first ring. Grace, I heard about last night. How? Hospital called me, Finn says. You listed me as your attorney in your chart. They wanted me aware. Derek tried to take us, Grace says, in the middle of the night. I know, Finn says. It's going to help our case. Shows instability. Poor judgment. What do I do? Grace asks. He filed for divorce. Wants full custody. I saw the filing, Finn says. We're responding today. Counter petition. You want full custody with supervised visitation for Derek. Will it work? Maybe, Finn says. Friday's hearing will determine temporary custody. Until then, stay in the hospital. Stay safe. Don't talk to Derek without witnesses. Okay. Grace, Finn says, his voice gentler. You're doing great. Keep fighting. After hanging up, Grace forces herself up, moves to the wheelchair, needs to see her daughters. The NICU nurses help her. Lily and Emma look better today, color in their cheeks, breathing steadier, still tiny, still fragile, but fighters. Grace sits between the incubators, places one hand on each, feels their warmth through the plastic. I've got you, she whispers. Mommy's got you. A voice behind her. They're beautiful. Grace turns. Marcus stands in the doorway, flowers in hand, white roses this time. What are you doing here? Grace asks. Not unfriendly, just surprised. Checking on you, Marcus says. Finn told me what happened last night. Derek tried to abduct us, Grace says bluntly. I know, Marcus says. He's desperate. Desperate men are dangerous. Marcus pulls up a chair, sits beside Grace. They watch the babies together in silence. Why do you care? Grace asks finally. Really, we're strangers. Marcus is quiet for a long moment. My wife Sarah was in an incubator once, premature birth. She survived 3 days. Her parents were teenagers. Gave her up for adoption. Grace turns to him. I didn't know. Not many people do, Marcus says. Sarah spent her life grateful for those 3 days in the NICU. Grateful someone fought for her, gave her a chance. I see your daughters and I see Sarah. Fighting, surviving. I'm sorry, Grace says softly. About Sarah. Me too, Marcus says. Every day. They sit together. Two broken people, bound by loss and hope. Marcus, Grace says. But Grace, I want to be their father. Real father. If you'll let me. Grace's throat tightens. They'd be lucky to have you. I'd be lucky to have them, Marcus corrects. Lucky to have all of you. They spend the day together, all four of them. Play on the floor, read books, take walk around property. Simple day, perfect day. That evening, Marcus stays for dinner again. Stays after dinner. They watch movie. Babies sleep in pack-and-plays beside couch. Grace and Marcus sit close, his arm around her, her head on his shoulder. Normal, domestic, real. I could get used to this, Grace says quietly. Me too, Marcus says. Kisses her temple. I really could. Time passes differently after that night. Weeks blend together. Holidays approach. Grace's first Thanksgiving without Derek. First with Marcus. They host dinner. June, Patricia, Finn, small gathering. Intimate. Family by choice, not blood. Grace cooks. Marcus helps. They work together. Comfortable. Easy. Like they've done this for years. During dinner, Marcus stands, taps his glass. I want to say something. Everyone quiets. Grace looks at him, curious, nervous. A year ago, Marcus begins, I was alone, grieving, lost. I didn't think I'd ever feel joy again. Then I met Grace, these girls, this makeshift family. You taught me something important, that life doesn't end with loss. It transforms, becomes something different, sometimes something better. He looks at Grace. Grace, you are the strongest person I know. You took devastation and built triumph. You took betrayal and chose love. You gave me purpose when I had none. Thank you for letting me be part of your story. Grace cries, happy tears, grateful tears. Marcus sits, takes her hand, squeezes. The dinner continues. Laughter, stories, warmth. Grace looks around the table. This is family, real family, built from ruins, stronger for the breaking. Later, after everyone leaves, Grace and Marcus clean up. The babies sleep. House quiet, peaceful. Marcus, Grace says, I need to tell you something. Okay, he says, concerned. What is it? I think I'm falling in love with you, Grace says. The words rush out. Terrifying. True. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated, but I think I am, and that scares me. Marcus sets down the dish he's holding, turns to her. Why does it scare you? Because loving someone gives them power to hurt you, Grace says. Derek taught me that. Derek was wrong, Marcus says, cups her face gently. Love isn't power over someone. It's power with someone. Shared strength, not weakness. Promise, Grace asks, vulnerable, small. Promise, Marcus says, kisses her, soft, sweet. Grace, I'm falling in love with you too. Have been for months. I was just waiting for you to catch up. Grace laughs through tears. You were waiting? Patiently, Marcus says, very patiently. Well, I'm caught up now, Grace says. What do? We keep going, Marcus says simply. Your husband's attorney. What do you want? Grace asks. June stands beside her bed, protective. To discuss settlement, Trent says. My client is willing to compromise. Compromise? Grace repeats. He tried to kidnap us last night. A misunderstanding, Trent says smoothly. Mr. Holloway was concerned, acted rashly. He regrets it. I doubt that. Regardless, Trent continues, he's proposing joint custody, 50-50 split. You drop the emergency petition. He drops his custody demands. Everyone shares. No, Grace says immediately. You should think about this, Trent says. You have no income, no home, no resources. Mr. Holloway can provide stability, security. The courts will consider that. The courts will also consider that he's having an affair, Grace says, that he bought his mistress a car with money meant for my medical care, that he tried to insure my life and hoped I'd die. Trent's face hardens. Careful, Mrs. Holloway. Slander is actionable. Yes, I'll marry you again, for real. Marcus picks her up, spins her, both laughing, joy bubbling over, pure, uncomplicated. They kiss, long, deep, promise, beginning, future. When they finally separate, Grace feels different, lighter, free. The past doesn't own her anymore. Derek doesn't define her. She's Grace Brennan now, mother, wife, survivor, thriver. I love you, she says. Means it, fully, completely. I love you too, Marcus says. Always will. The babies sleep peacefully. Marcus and Grace sit together on the couch, plan their future, their real wedding, their life together. Grace never thought she'd be here, never imagined this happiness. But life surprises, life transforms, life offers second chances to those brave enough to take them. She took hers and found everything she didn't know she needed. 1 year later, almost to the day, Grace stands in the same hospital, same floor, different reason. She's here to dedicate the new maternal health wing. It's not slander if it's true, June interjects. And we have proof. We'll see, Trent says. Stands. The offer stands until Friday. After that, we go to war. And Mrs. Holloway, you will lose. After he leaves, Grace shakes. Adrenaline, fear, anger. That man is evil, June says. He's doing his job, Grace replies. Protecting his client. We need to be smarter, stronger. Grace calls Finn, tells him about Trent's visit, the settlement offer. Don't take it, Finn says immediately. Joint custody means Derek gets the girls half the time. Unsupervised, dangerous. That's what I thought, Grace says. Stay strong, Finn says. Friday we show the judge what Derek really is. Trust me. Grace tries to trust, but trust is hard when everything keeps crumbling. That night, alone in her hospital room, Grace does what she always does when overwhelmed. She organizes, pulls out the hospital tray, lines up items by size. Water cup, tissues, remote, phone charger. When did he start wearing new cologne? I'll be back first thing tomorrow, Derek promises. Call me if anything changes. Anything at all. He leaves. The room feels larger without him. Emptier. Grace stares at the ceiling tiles, counts them. 24 tiles, 4 rows of 6. Her mind spins, tries to make sense of the last 10 minutes. Her phone sits on the rolling table, just out of reach. Grace stretches. Her muscles ache. Everything aches. She grabs the phone, opens it. Lock, unlock, lock. Her thumb hovers over Derek's contact. She could call him, demand answers. But what if she's wrong? What if the pregnancy hormones and the medications are making her paranoid? Unlock, lock, unlock. Grace opens Instagram instead, types in Derek's profile. His recent likes appear. A marketing executive named Vanessa Cole, pretty, 20-something, works at Derek's real estate development firm. Grace clicks on Vanessa's profile. The photos load slowly. Hospital Wi-Fi, always terrible. Creates order from chaos. Her phone sits on the tray. 3 a.m. Grace opens it. Googles. Can father take custody if mother has postpartum complications? The results terrify her. Yes, fathers can win custody, especially if mothers are deemed unfit, unstable, unable to provide. Grace keeps searching, reading horror stories. Fathers who took babies, mothers who lost everything. Her breathing quickens. The monitor's alarm. A nurse rushes in. Grace, you need to calm down, the nurse says. Checks the blood pressure, still high, dangerously high. I can't lose them, Grace says. I can't. Then stop Googling worst-case scenarios, the nurse says gently. Focus on healing, on getting strong, on being the mother they need. Grace knows she's right, but fear is louder than logic. The nurse stays, sits with Grace until her blood pressure drops, until Grace can breathe again. You survived pregnancy, the nurse says. Survived delivery, survived betrayal. You'll survive this too. Grace wants to believe her, repeats the words like a mantra. I'll survive, I'll survive, I'll survive. But survival feels uncertain, fragile, like walking a tightrope over flames. Thursday passes slowly. Grace spends every possible moment in the NICU. Lily and Emma grow stronger, gaining weight, breathing better. The doctors are optimistic. They might go home in 2 weeks, Dr. Rodriguez says. Maybe less. Home, but where is home? Grace has no home. Derek's house is in his name. She can't go back there. Can't take her daughters into enemy territory. June offers her apartment. 2 bedrooms, small but safe. Grace accepts, has no other choice. Thursday evening, Finn arrives, carries a thick folder. Tomorrow's prep. Let's review your testimony. They spend 2 hours preparing. Finn asks hard questions. Grace answers honestly. By the end, she's exhausted, wrung out. You'll do great, Finn says. Just tell the truth. Show the judge who you are, who Derek is. What if the judge sides with him, Grace asks. What if I lose? Then we appeal, Finn says simply. We keep fighting until we win. After Finn leaves, Marcus appears. Becomes a pattern. Marcus checking in, bringing comfort, offering support. Nervous about tomorrow, he asks. Terrified, Grace admits. They sit together, silent, peaceful. Grace feels safer with Marcus nearby, doesn't question why, just accepts it. Grace, Marcus says eventually, whatever happens tomorrow, you're not alone. Remember that. Why do you keep saying that? Grace asks. We barely know each other. Maybe, Marcus says, but sometimes the people who matter most are the ones who show up when everyone else leaves. He's right. Derek left, abandoned her, but Marcus stayed, a stranger showing more loyalty than her husband ever did. Friday morning arrives too soon. Grace dresses carefully. June brought clothes, simple dress, cardigan, trying to look stable, maternal, fit. The hearing is at 10 a.m. Grace, June, and Finn arrive at 9:30. The courthouse is imposing, cold marble, echoing halls. Everything feels heavy, permanent. Derek is already there, suit, tie, clean-shaven, playing the part. Vanessa sits behind him, bold, shameless. Grace recognizes her from Instagram, pretty, young, smug. Their eyes meet. Vanessa smiles, small, victorious, like she's already won. Grace looks away, focuses on Finn, on the plan. Remember, Finn says, truth, calm, don't let them provoke you. The bailiff calls them in. Holloway versus Holloway, family court, Judge Morrison presiding. They enter. The courtroom is smaller than Grace expected, less dramatic, just a judge, a bench, two tables, reality instead of television. Judge Morrison is a woman, 60-something, gray hair, sharp eyes. She reviews the files, looks up. This is a preliminary hearing for temporary custody, Judge Morrison says. I'll hear from both sides, then decide what's in the best interest of the minor children. Mr. Trent, you may begin. Trent stands, smooth, confident. Your Honor, my client Derek Holloway is a loving father concerned for his daughter's welfare. Mrs. Holloway is currently unstable, fresh from major surgery, no home, no income, living with her mother. We believe the children need stability. Mr. Holloway can provide that. Finn stands. Your Honor, may I respond? Proceed, Judge Morrison says. Mrs. Holloway gave birth 3 days ago, Finn says, under life-threatening circumstances. She's recovering. That's not instability. That's medicine. As for housing, Mrs. Holloway has secured safe housing with family. Mr. Holloway, meanwhile, attempted to remove Mrs. Holloway and the infants from the hospital against medical advice at 2 a.m. while intoxicated. Judge Morrison's eyebrows raise. Is this accurate, Mr. Trent? Trent hesitates. My client was concerned, perhaps acted hastily, but his intentions were pure. The hospital filed an incident report, Finn continues. Security footage shows Mr. Holloway belligerent, refusing to leave. The hospital issued a ban for patient safety. Judge Morrison makes notes. I'll need to see that footage. We've submitted it as evidence, Finn says, Exhibit A. The judge watches the video. Grace watches her face, sees disapproval form. Good. Let her see Derek's true nature. Mr. Holloway, Judge Morrison says, this behavior concerns me. Derek stands. Your Honor, I was scared. My daughters were born premature. My wife was sick. I wanted my family together. I made a mistake. A mistake that required security intervention. Judge Morrison says dryly, sit down, Mr. Holloway. Derek sits, face red, angry. What else, Mr. Murphy? Judge Morrison asks. Financial concerns, Finn says. Mr. Holloway recently made significant purchases. A BMW valued at $300,000. Registered to Vanessa Cole. His girlfriend gasps from the gallery. Vanessa's face goes white. This money came from a business deal Mr. Holloway obtained under false pretenses. Finn continues, claimed he needed it for his wife's medical expenses. Instead, bought his mistress a car. Your Honor, this is irrelevant, Trent objects. Marital assets are separate from custody. Financial responsibility is very relevant, Judge Morrison says. Continue, Mr. Murphy. Finn presents the evidence, the Riverside deal, Marcus's testimony, the car registration, Derek's lies, everything carefully documented. By the end, Judge Morrison looks disgusted. Mrs. Holloway, the judge says, approach the bench. Grace stands, legs shaky, approaches. The judge's eyes are kind but firm. Tell me, Judge Morrison says, what do you want for your daughters? Safety, Grace says, voice clear, strong. Love, a mother who fights for them, a father who doesn't lie to them. I want them to grow up knowing they matter, that they're not pawns in someone's game. Do you believe Mr. Holloway is unsafe? I believe he's selfish, Grace says. He hoped I would die, told his mistress I wouldn't survive, took out life insurance on me. I don't know if he'd hurt them physically, but emotionally, yes. He'd hurt them, use them. That's not safety. Judge Morrison nods, writes, Thank you, Mrs. Holloway. You may sit. The hearing continues, witnesses, testimony, back and forth. By noon, everyone's exhausted. Judge Morrison bangs her gavel. I've heard enough. Here's my ruling. Temporary sole physical custody to Mrs. Grace Holloway. Mr. Derek Holloway will have supervised visitation, 2 hours weekly at a neutral location. This order stands until the final divorce hearing. Derek explodes. Your Honor, this is outrageous. Mr. Holloway, control yourself, Judge Morrison snaps, or I'll hold you in contempt. Derek sits, seething. Vanessa touches his arm. He shakes her off. Additionally, Judge Morrison continues, I'm ordering Mr. Holloway to pay temporary child support, $5,000 monthly, plus 50% of medical expenses. Court adjourned. She bangs the gavel. It's over. Grace can barely breathe. She won. Temporary custody. Her daughters are hers. Safe. Finn hugs her. You did it. We did it. June cries. Relief. Marcus waits in this hallway. Grace walks to him. Without thinking, she hugs him. He stiffens, then relaxes. Hugs back. Thank you, Grace whispers, for everything. You fought, Marcus says. You won. I just helped. But Grace knows it's more. Without Marcus, she'd have lost. Been helpless. Alone. Derek storms past. Doesn't look at her. Vanessa follows. They leave together. Empty. Defeated. Grace feels no joy in their pain, just relief. Her daughters are safe. For now, that's enough. 5 days pass. Grace remains in the hospital, recovering, healing, getting stronger. Lily and Emma thrive. Graduate from incubators to open cribs. Huge milestone. The medical bills arrive. $750,000. Grace stares at the numbers. Impossible. Insurmountable. The insurance denied most claims. Pre-existing condition clause. Fine print Derek added when he changed policies. Grace sits in her hospital bed, holds the bills, calculates. $5,000 monthly from Derek. Child support. Barely covers formula and diapers. Nothing left for bills. For rent. For living. June's apartment is small, 1 bedroom. Grace and the twins will share. June takes the couch. It's temporary. A Band-Aid. Not sustainable. Grace needs a job. But who hires a woman with newborn twins? Recovering from major surgery? No childcare? No transportation? The situation feels hopeless. A knock at the door. Marcus enters. Carries coffee. 2 cups. Thought you could use this, he says. Hands her one. You're a mind reader, Grace says. Takes it. Savors the warmth. Marcus sits. There. 2 days ago, a restaurant, the Riverside Grill, candle-lit tables, Vanessa smiling at the camera. The caption reads, Amazing dinner with an amazing man. Grace's stomach drops. She scrolls back through her texts with Derek, finds the night 2 days ago. Derek's message. Working late, big contract negotiation. Don't wait up. The Riverside Grill is not a business restaurant. It's romantic, intimate. The kind of place Derek took Grace on their anniversary, before the pregnancy, before everything changed. Grace keeps scrolling, finds more. A photo from 3 weeks ago. Vanessa at a hotel bar. Weekend getaway vibes. Derek told Grace he had a conference in Chicago that weekend. Real estate investors. Boring speeches. He'd called her twice. Once in the morning, once at night. Brief conversations. Background noise. Laughter. The monitors beep faster. Grace's heart races. The numbers climb. 140 over 90, 150 over 95. Jennifer returns. Doesn't speak immediately, just sits. Comfortable silence. I saw the medical bills, Marcus says finally. How? Grace asks. Hospital administrator mentioned that I'm on the board, donated the maternal health wing 3 years ago, in Sarah's memory. Grace hadn't known. That's beautiful. Sarah would have liked you, Marcus says. Your strength, your fight. I don't feel strong, Grace admits. I feel terrified, exhausted, buried under debt I can't pay. Marcus sets down his coffee, leans forward, serious. Grace, I have a proposal. It's unconventional, possibly crazy, but hear me out. I'm listening. Marry me, Marcus says. Grace chokes on her coffee, coughs. What? Marry me, wow. Marcus repeats, calm and steady. On paper, a business arrangement. I'll pay your medical bills, provide housing for you and your daughters, security, stability. Why? Grace asks. Why would you do that? Several reasons, Marcus says. Business. I'm acquiring a major company. International deal. Needs appearance of stability. Family man. Married. The board wants that. So I'm window dressing? Grace asks, not offended, just clarifying. Partially, Marcus admits, but also I want to help. You need resources. I have them. This solves both problems. What about you? Grace asks. What do you really get out of this? Marcus hesitates, vulnerable. Company, purpose. Those girls remind me of what I lost, what Sarah wanted. Being part of their lives gives me something to care about, something beyond work. Grace studies his face, sees sincerity, but also loneliness, deep, aching. This is insane, Grace says. I know. We barely know each other. True. Derek will lose his mind. Good, Marcus says, small smile. Grace laughs. Can't help it. The absurdity, the audacity, the sheer craziness of it all. What would the arrangement look like? Grace asks. Considering. Actually considering. Separate lives, Marcus says. Guest house on my property. You and the girls. Full privacy. I'm in the main house. You're independent. Just married on paper. For how long? A year minimum for the business deal. After that, we reevaluate. Stay married, get divorced, whatever works. And if I meet someone, Grace asks, fall in love, then we divorce. Marcus says simply, no hard feelings, clean break. What if you meet someone? I won't, Marcus says, certainty in his voice. I had my person. She's gone. I'm done looking. The sadness in his words breaks Grace's heart. Marcus, you're 35. That's too young to give up. Maybe, Marcus says, but I gave up 3 years ago. This arrangement doesn't change that. Grace thinks, really thinks. Pride says no, says this is charity, pity, weakness. But practicality says yes, says her daughters need stability, safety, a future. I need time, Grace says, to think. Take all the time you need, Marcus says, stands. But Grace, know this. I'm not doing this out of pity. I'm doing it because you remind me that good people still exist, that fighting matters, that survival is worth celebrating. After he leaves, Grace sits with the proposal, turns it over in her mind, examines every angle. June arrives. Grace tells her everything. That man wants to marry you, June says, shocked. Business arrangement, Grace clarifies. Not real marriage. Still, June says, that's enormous, life-changing. I know. What are you thinking, June asks. Really thinking? Grace takes a deep breath. I'm thinking pride doesn't feed babies, doesn't pay bills, doesn't keep us safe. Marcus is offering a life raft. Maybe I should take it. But you barely know him, June says. What if he's dangerous? What if there's an agenda you don't see? Then I'm trading one danger for another, Grace says. But Marcus has been nothing but kind, helpful, honest. That's more than Derek ever was. June sits beside her, takes her hands. Baby, this is your choice, your life, but I want you to ask yourself one question. What? Are you doing this because it's right? Or because you're desperate? Grace considers. Both. Desperate for stability, but also it feels right. Marcus is good. I trust him. That's rare. Then maybe you have your answer, June says. That night, Grace can't sleep. Holds her phone. Types and deletes messages to Marcus. Can't find the right words. Finally, at 2 a.m. she texts. I need to know one thing. Why me, really? Out of everyone you could help, why me, Mom? His response comes immediately. Because when I saw you in that hospital bed, you reminded me of Sarah. Not physically, but the fight in your eyes, the refusal to give up. Sarah had that. It's rare, worth protecting. Grace reads the message 5 times, feels the weight of it. The truth, she types, okay, yes, I'll marry you. 3 dots appear, then, you won't regret this. I promise, Bait. Grace hopes he's right. The next morning, Marcus arrives early, brings paperwork, contract, lawyer reviewed, everything official. Grace reads through it carefully. No tricks, no hidden clauses, just terms. Clear, fair. Guest house deed in your name, Marcus explains. Prenup protects both of us. You owe me nothing. Ever. What about the medical bills? Grace asks. Paid in full, Marcus says. Yesterday. Consider it a wedding gift. Grace's eyes fill with tears. Marcus, that's too much. It's done, he says firmly. No arguments, no paybacks. You need to focus on your daughters, not debt. Grace signs the contract. Her hand shakes slightly. This is real. Actually happening. When do we do this? Grace asks. Soon, Marcus says. You need to be discharged. Babies need to be stable. Maybe next week? Okay. They sit together. 2 people entering a strange partnership. Neither quite sure what they're doing, but both committed. Grace, Marcus says, I know this seems sudden, impulsive, but I believe this will work for both of us. I hope so, Grace says, because if it doesn't, I've just made a massive mistake. Trust me, Marcus says, you haven't. A week later, Grace is discharged. Lily and Emma remain in NICU, stable but needing more time. Grace visits daily, spends hours beside their cribs. The courthouse wedding is scheduled for the following Tuesday. Small, private, just Finn as witness. June, the judge. No fanfare, no celebration, just signatures and promises. Grace wears a simple dress, blue, June's choice. Marcus wears a suit. They stand before the judge, repeat vows that mean nothing and everything simultaneously. I do. I do. I pronounce you husband and wife. No kiss, just handshake, professional, businesslike. But when Grace signs her new name, Grace Brennan, something shifts. She's someone new, someone safer, someone with resources. After the ceremony, Marcus drives her to his estate, 40 minutes outside the city, rolling hills. Gated entrance, massive property. The guest house is beautiful. 3 bedrooms, full kitchen, living room, nursery already set up, cribs, changing tables, rocking chairs, everything perfect. When did you do this? Grace asks, amazed. Last week, Marcus says. You said yes, wanted it ready. Grace walks through the rooms, touches surfaces, feels the reality settling. This is home now, temporary home, but home. Thank you, she says. Means it. This is more than I expected. You deserve more than you expect, Marcus says. Get used to it. He shows her the main house. Modern, expensive, tasteful. Everything designer. Perfect. Almost sterile, like a showroom. I don't spend much time here, Marcus admits. Mostly work, eat, sleep. That's it. Lonely, Grace observes. Very, Marcus agrees. But I prefer it. Less painful than company. Grace understands. Grief does that. Isolates, protects by pushing away. They establish routines. Grace in the guest house. Marcus in the main house. He leaves for work early, returns late. They see each other occasionally. Brief conversations. Checking in. Nothing more. After 3 days, Grace brings Lily home from NICU. Emma follows 2 days later. Suddenly, the guest house is full. Babies, crying, feeding, diapers, life. Grace is exhausted, new mother exhaustion, but also grateful. Her daughters are home, safe, thriving. Marcus helps unexpectedly, shows up with groceries, coffee, takeout, never intrusive, just supportive. One night, 3 a.m., Grace is crying, overwhelmed, both babies screaming, formula spilled, diaper explosion, everything catastrophic. A knock at the door. Marcus, dressed in pajamas, concerned. Need help? He asks. Desperately, Grace admits. He enters, takes Emma, holds her expertly, sways gently. Emma quiets. Grace stares. How do you know how to do that? She asks. Sarah and I volunteered at a hospital, Marcus says. Nice see you, cuddling babies, I learned. Whoa, Grace wants to cry harder. This man, this unexpected, kind, broken man. They spend the next hour together, feeding, changing, calming, working as a team. By 4 a.m., both babies sleep. Grace and Marcus sit on the couch, exhausted, victorious. Thank you, Grace says. I couldn't have done that alone. You're not alone anymore, Marcus says. That was the point. Something shifts between them. Subtle, a connection forming. Fragile, new, unexpected. Grace looks at him, really looks, sees past the grief, the wealth, the walls, sees a good man, a lonely man, a man who chose kindness when cruelty was easier. Marcus, she says softly, why are you really doing this? He meets her eyes, honest, vulnerable. Because 3 years ago I couldn't save the woman I loved. Maybe I can save you. The words hang between them. Heavy, true, Tibernia. Grace doesn't know how to respond, so she doesn't, just sits beside him, sharing silence, sharing space. Takes one look at the screen, takes the phone gently from Grace's hands. Mrs. Holloway, she says, you need to rest. Whatever you're looking at can wait. My husband is having an affair, Grace says. The words come out flat, emotionless. And he wants me to die. Jennifer's face shows shock, then professional composure. She pulls a chair close to the bed, sits down. Her scrubs smell like lavender. Fabric softener. Something normal in this nightmare. Tell me what happened, Jennifer says quietly. Grace does, every word. The phone call, the lipstick, the Instagram photos, the lies. Jennifer listens without interrupting. When Grace finishes, they sit in silence. The monitors beep, steady now. Grace's blood pressure drops back to baseline. Not good, but not critical. What should I do? Grace whispers. I have 2 babies, 31 weeks. They need more time. I need more time. Jennifer takes Grace's hand. Right now, you focus on staying alive, on keeping these babies safe, sharing the strange new reality they've created together. Outside, dawn breaks. Pink light streams through windows. A new day, a new beginning. Grace doesn't know where this leads, but for the first time since Derek's phone call, she feels something besides fear. She feels hope. 6 weeks pass. Grace settles into a rhythm. Babies, sleep, repeat. Her body heals. The C-section scar fades from angry red to pale pink. Her strength returns. Slowly, steadily. Marcus maintains his distance. Polite, helpful, but separate. They coexist. Roommates on a massive property, business partners in an unusual arrangement. Derek sends texts. Angry, threatening, demanding to see his daughters. Finn handles it. Coordinates supervised visits. 2 hours weekly at a neutral location. Family services facility. Monitored. Grace attends the first visit, watches through one-way glass. Derek holds Lily, then Emma. Awkward, uncomfortable. Like he doesn't know them. Doesn't want to. I need to ask you something. Anything. Why did you really give Derek the Riverside deal? Marcus smiles slightly. I didn't. I outbid him. Then I heard his sob story. I wanted to see if he was telling the truth. If he'd actually used the money for you. And he bought a car, Marcus says. Red BMW, registered to Vanessa Cole, $300,000. Every penny. Grace's stomach turns. He bought his mistress a car with money meant for my medical care. Yes. Can we use that? Grace asks. In court? Absolutely, Marcus says. Finn's subpoenaing Derek's financial records. That purchase will show intent, character, priorities. Grace feels a spark of hope. Small, fragile, but real. Thank you, she says, for everything, for caring. Don't thank me yet, Marcus says. This fight is just starting. He's right. Later that afternoon, Derek's lawyer arrives. Tall, 50-ish, expensive suit, shark eyes. Mrs. Holloway, he says, I'm Richard Trent. After 30 minutes, Derek hands them to the supervisor. Checks his phone, barely interacts. Grace sees the truth. Derek doesn't want his daughters. He wants to win, to control, to prove he can. The supervised visits continue. Derek shows up, does the minimum, leaves. Grace stops attending. Can't bear watching his indifference. Patricia, Derek's mother, requests a visit. Grace agrees, cautiously. Patricia arrives at the guest house. Nervous, apologetic. Patricia says, I'm sorry for everything, for raising a man who could do this. Grace doesn't know how to respond. Offers tea. They sit at the kitchen table, Lily and Emma in bouncy seats between them. They're beautiful, Patricia says, tears in her eyes. My granddaughters, I've missed so much. Derek kept you away? Grace asks. No, Patricia admits. I stayed away, ashamed, didn't know how to face you after what he did. Grace understands. You're not responsible for Derek's choices. Maybe not, Patricia says, but I enabled him, made excuses, believed his lies. I was a fool. They talk for an hour. Patricia holds the babies, cries, apologizes repeatedly. By the end, Grace sees Patricia differently, not as enemy, as victim, another person Derek damaged. Can I visit again? Patricia asks. Be part of their lives? Yes, Grace says, means it. They should know their grandmother. Patricia becomes regular presence, visits weekly, brings gifts, love bon. Grandmother devotion to Derek never showed his father. Marcus notices, comments one evening. He's at the guest house, fixing a leaky faucet. Grace makes dinner. Strange domestic scene. Your former mother-in-law visits a lot, Marcus observes. She's changed, Grace says. Realizes Derek is broken, wants to make amends through the girls. Admirable, Marcus says. Not many people admit their mistakes. She's trying, Grace says. That matters. Marcus finishes the faucet, tests it, works perfectly. He has good hands, capable, strong. Grace notices, looks away quickly. Dinner's ready, she says. Want to stay? Marcus hesitates. They've maintained boundaries, separate lives, but something's shifting. Slowly, inevitably. Sure, Marcus says, thank you. They eat together, first real meal shared. Pasta, salad. Conversation flows easier than expected. Marcus talks about work. Grace shares baby stories. Normal, almost normal. After dinner, Marcus helps clean up, stands at the sink, washing dishes. Grace dries. Their arms brush. Brief contact. Electric. Both pretend not to notice. Lily starts crying. Grace moves to get her. Marcus follows. Stands in doorway. Watches Grace comfort her daughter. Something crosses his face. Longing. Loss. You're good at that, Marcus says softly. Practice, Grace says. Lots of practice. Sarah wanted to be a mother, Marcus says. Rare mention of his wife. She'd practice, with dolls, stuffed animals, planning for someday. I'm sorry, someday never came, Grace says. Me too, Marcus says. Every day. He leaves shortly after. Grace sits alone, thinks about Marcus, his grief, his loneliness, his unexpected kindness. She realizes something uncomfortable. She's developing feelings, real feelings, for her fake husband. It's too soon, too complicated, too dangerous, but emotions don't follow logic. Don't wait for permission. Grace pushes the feelings down, focuses on her daughters, on stability, on not ruining the good things she has, but the feelings don't disappear. They grow, persistent, insistent. One evening, Grace sits in her parked car, outside the main house, unable to go inside, unable to leave, frozen, afraid. Afraid of feeling too much, of wanting too much, of losing another person she cares about. Marcus emerges from the house, sees her car, approaches, taps the window. Grace, you okay? She rolls down the window. Fine, just thinking. In your car? In my driveway? It's complicated. Marcus opens the door. Come inside, talk to me. Grace hesitates, but follows. They enter the main house. Living room, masculine, minimal. Marcus's space. Talk, Marcus says. What's wrong? Nothing, Grace lies. Grace, Marcus says gently. We're married, fake married, but still, you can talk to me. Grace takes a deep breath. I'm scared of getting comfortable, of trusting this, of losing it. You won't lose it, Marcus says. This arrangement is solid, legal, safe. That's not what scares me, Grace admits. Then what? Grace looks at him, really looks, sees the man behind the arrangement, the kindness, the strength, the loneliness that mirrors her own. I'm scared of caring too much, she whispers, of this being more than an arrangement, of getting hurt again. Marcus goes still, understanding dawns. Grace, don't, Grace says. Don't say anything. I know this isn't that. I know the rules. I'm just processing, adjusting. I'll be fine. She stands, leaves quickly, returns to the guest house, closes the door, leans against it, breathes. What is she doing? Catching feelings for a man who's still in love with his dead wife? A man who explicitly said this arrangement is temporary? Business? Grace is a fool, an idiot. Exactly what Derek always said. But then she hears it. Knock at the door, Marcus's voice. Grace, please, let me in. She opens the door. Marcus stands there, conflicted, vulnerable. You can't say things like that and run away, he says. I'm sorry, Grace says. I shouldn't have said anything. No, Marcus says, you should have, because I need to be honest too. Grace waits, heart pounding. This stopped being just business around month 2, Marcus says quietly. For me, somewhere between midnight baby crying and morning coffee, between watching you fight for your daughters and seeing you rebuild your strength. It changed. Grace can't breathe. Marcus, I'm not asking for anything, Marcus says quickly, just being honest. Like you were. We're both scared, both damaged. But maybe that's okay. Maybe scared and damaged people can figure things out together. Or maybe we make a massive mistake, Grace says. Maybe, Marcus agrees, but staying frozen in fear is its own mistake. They stand in the doorway, neither moving, neither retreating, just existing in the possibility. I'm not ready, Grace finally says, for more, for real. I'm barely divorced, barely surviving. I know, Marcus says. I'm not ready either. Still grieving, still broken. But Grace, when I see you, I don't feel quite as broken. That has to mean something. It means we're both vulnerable, Grace says, making questionable decisions. Marcus smiles slightly. Probably, but questionable decisions led us here. And here isn't terrible. No, Grace agrees. Here isn't terrible. They stand in silence. Then Marcus steps back, creates space, safety. No pressure, Ma says, no expectations. We take this slow, figure it out as we go. If it's just friendship, that's fine. If it becomes more, that's fine too. No rules except honesty. Deal? Deal, Grace says. Marcus leaves. Grace closes the door, sits on the couch, processes. What just happened? Did they just agree to explore whatever this is? Grace doesn't know, but for the first time she's not terrified of the unknown. Just curious, hopeful, maybe even excited. The babies sleep peacefully. Grace watches them, thinks about the future, not the one she planned with Derek, but the one unfolding, unexpected, strange, full of possibility. Starting over feels impossible, but staying feels worse. Grace learned that months ago. Maybe it's time to actually live that truth. Outside, the night settles. Stars emerge. Grace stands at the window, looks toward the main house, sees a light on. Marcus's office. He's still awake, working, or thinking, or processing, just like her. Two broken people, two lonely hearts, one complicated arrangement, infinite possibilities. Grace smiles, small, genuine. First real smile in months. Maybe, just maybe, broken things can be rebuilt. Not the same as before, but different, stronger, more real. She hopes so, for herself, for her daughters, for Marcus, for all of them. 2 months into the arrangement, Derek files new motions, contesting the marriage, claiming fraud, arguing Marcus forced Grace into it, manipulated her. Finn calls, explains the strategy. Derek's desperate, trying anything. The judge won't buy it, but we need to respond. Let him try, Grace says. I'm not backing down. The new hearing is scheduled. 3 weeks away, Grace prepares, testifies, defends her choices. Meanwhile, life continues. Lily and Emma grow, 4 months old, smiling, cooing, reaching milestones. Grace documents everything. Photos, videos, evidence of thriving children in stable home. Marcus becomes more present. Everything else can wait. Can it? Grace asks. Can it really? But she knows the answer. Nothing can wait. Her husband wants her dead, and she has less than 2 weeks before delivery. 2 weeks to figure out how to survive, how to protect her daughters, because that phone call changed everything. Grace heard the truth in Derek's voice, the hope, the eagerness. He was counting down the days until she died, planning his freedom, his future, with someone else. Grace closes her eyes. The darkness behind her eyelids feels safer than the harsh hospital lights. But even in the dark, she sees Derek's face, hears his voice. She won't make it through delivery. He was wrong. Grace would make it. She had to. Because her daughters deserved a mother who fought, who survived, who refused to die just because her husband wanted her gone. The night stretches long. Grace doesn't sleep. She lies awake, plans, thinks, tries to remember when everything went wrong. When Derek stopped loving her. Not intrusive, just available. Reads to the babies in the morning. His deep voice soothes them. Grace watches from doorway, heart aching with something dangerous. Something like love. They don't talk about feelings again. Maintain careful distance. But the distance shrinks, incrementally, inevitably. One evening, doorbell rings. Grace answers. A woman stands there, late 20s, pretty, familiar. Vanessa. Grace's stomach drops. What are you doing here? I need to talk to you, Vanessa says. Please, it's important. Grace should close the door and should call Marcus, should protect herself. Instead, curiosity wins. 5 minutes, Grace says. Outside. They sit on the porch. Vanessa looks rough, tired. Makeup can't hide dark circles. Expensive clothes can't hide defeat. Why are you here? Grace asks, cold, direct. To tell you the truth, Vanessa says, about Derek, about everything. I know the truth, Grace says. He cheated, lied, tried to profit from my death. What else is there? More, Vanessa says, so much more. Grace waits. Vanessa takes shaky breath. Derek promised to marry me, Vanessa begins, after you died. Said we'd be together, raise your daughters, use the insurance money to start fresh. Grace's hands clench. Go on. He convinced me to help him, Vanessa continues. Document your instability, photograph messy house, record conversations where you seemed emotional, build a case that you were unfit. You did that? Grace asks. Voice dangerous, quiet. Yes, Vanessa admits. Shame colors her cheeks. I was in love, believed his lies, thought we were building a future. What changed? Grace asks. He ghosted me, Vanessa says. Bitter laugh. After you survived, after you married Marcus, Derek disappeared, stopped answering calls, blocked me on everything, took the BMW back, left me with nothing. Good, Grace says, not sympathetically. I deserve that, Vanessa says. I helped him try to destroy you. But Grace, there's more. Things you need to know. Grace leans forward. Tell me. Vanessa pulls out her phone. I recorded conversations with Derek, evidence of his plans, his lies, everything. She plays the first recording. Derek's voice. Clear, damning. She won't make it through delivery. Doctor said her blood pressure is critical. Few more days, maybe a week. Then we're free, baby. You, me, $500,000, and two cute kids to play happy family with. Grace's vision blurs, hearing Derek's voice, his casual cruelty, his calculated plan. It's worse than she imagined. Vanessa plays another recording, this one recent, after the marriage. That bitch married Marcus Brennan, of all people. My rival. She's trying to humiliate me. Well, she'll regret it. I'll take those kids, bleed them dry with court costs, make her miserable until she begs me to take her back. Grace's hands shake. How many recordings do you have? 15, Vanessa says, hours of conversations, including him admitting to changing your insurance policy, to hoping you'd die, to planning to use your death for financial gain. Why are you giving me these? Grace asks, suspicious. What's your angle? Revenge, Vanessa says honestly. He used me, destroyed me, threw me away like garbage. I want him to pay. So this is revenge, not remorse. Both, Vanessa says. I'm not a good person, Grace. I knew he was married. I pursued him anyway. I helped him hurt you. That's on me. I own it. But he lied to me too. Promised me a future. Used my feelings against me. We're both his victims. Grace studies Vanessa, sees truth mixed with self-interest. Complicated. Messy. Human. If I use these recordings, Grace says slowly, Derek will know you betrayed him. He'll come after you. Let him try, Vanessa says. I have a lawyer now. I'm pressing charges. Fraud. Emotional abuse. Taking back the car was actually theft. Technically, my name was on the registration. He forged my signature to repo it. Grace almost smiles, almost. You're suing him? Into oblivion, Vanessa confirms. And these recordings help both our cases. You get your daughters protected. I get my restitution. Win-win. Except you helped him try to kill me, Grace says, coldly. That's not something I forgive easily. I don't expect forgiveness, Vanessa says. Just cooperation, enemy of my enemy and all that. Grace thinks, strategies, calculates. These recordings change everything. Prove intent, prove malice, prove Derek is dangerous. I need to talk to my lawyer, Grace says. Of course, Vanessa says, stands, hands Grace a flash drive. Copies of everything, originals are with my attorney. Use them, destroy him. He deserves it. After Vanessa leaves, Grace sits on the porch, holds the flash drive. So much power in one small device. Marcus finds her there, sits beside her. Who was that? Derek's mistress, Grace says, hands him the flash drive. Explains everything. Marcus listens without interrupting. When she finishes, he's quiet, thinking. This changes things, Marcus finally says. These recordings give you everything, full custody, restraining order, maybe even criminal charges. I know, Grace says. But, Marcus asks, here's hesitation. But it feels wrong, Grace admits. Using evidence from her, the woman who helped him try to destroy me. She's also the woman who's trying to make it right, Marcus says. Complicated, but useful. Is it making it right? Grace asks. Or is it just revenge dressed up as redemption? Does it matter, Baran? Marcus asks. The end result protects your daughters. That's what counts. He's right. Grace knows he's right. Intentions don't matter. Results do. I'll give them to Finn, Grace says. Let him decide how to use them. Good, Marcus says, puts his arm around her shoulders, casual gesture, comforting. Grace leans into him, lets herself be held, supported. Marcus, Grace says quietly, when does this get easier? I don't know, Marcus admits. Sarah died 3 years ago. Still hurts every day. Maybe it never gets easier. Maybe you just get stronger. I don't feel strong, Grace says. You are, though, Marcus says. Strongest person I know. You survived Derek, survived complicated pregnancy, survived everything. And now you're thriving, raising two beautiful daughters. That's strength. Grace wants to believe him, wants to see herself through his eyes, but self-doubt is loud, persistent. What if I'm just surviving? Grace asks. What if I never actually thrive? Marcus turns her to face him, gentle, firm. Grace, you're already thriving. You just don't see it yet. His eyes are intense, honest. Grace sees something in them, something beyond friendship, beyond arrangement. Marcus, she starts. He leans closer, slowly, giving her time to retreat. She doesn't retreat, doesn't move, just waits. His lips touch hers, soft. Tentative, shallow question. Grace answers, kisses back, gentle, scared, real. They break apart, both breathe shakily. Sorry, Marcus says, I shouldn't have. Don't apologize, Grace interrupts. I wanted you to. You did? I did. They sit in silence, processing. What just happened changes everything. Or nothing, depending how they handle it. This complicates things, Grace says finally. Yes, Marcus agrees. We should probably talk about it. Probably. Neither moves. Neither wants to dissect it, analyze it, risk ruining it. Or, Marcus says slowly, we could just let it be, see where it goes. No pressure, no expectations. That's dangerous, Grace says. Everything worth having is dangerous, Marcus replies. Grace considers. He's right. Safety is overrated. Safety kept her with Derek too long. Ignored red flags, settled for less. Maybe dangerous is better. Maybe dangerous is honest. Okay, Grace says, let's be dangerous. Marcus smiles, real smile. Rare. Beautiful. Grace memorizes it, wants to see it more often. They sit together until dark. Talk about nothing important. Everything important. The babies, the future, what dangerous might mean for them. By the time Grace returns to the guest house, something has fundamentally shifted. They're not just business partners anymore, not just friends, something more, something undefined, something with potential. Grace checks on Lily and Emma, both sleeping peacefully. She sits in the rocking chair, watches them, thinks about Vanessa's recordings, about the upcoming hearing, about Marcus's kiss. Life is complicated, messy, full of impossible choices, but also full of unexpected joy, unexpected love, unexpected second chances. Grace rocks gently, hums a lullaby, plans for tomorrow, for next week, for next year. She's not just surviving anymore. Marcus was right. She's thriving, building new life from ashes, choosing herself, choosing her daughters, choosing possibility over fear. Derek thought he destroyed her, but he just freed her to become someone stronger, someone better, someone worthy of the love she's beginning to accept she deserves. The hardest part is admitting I deserve to be loved like this, Grace thinks. But maybe that's the next step. Believing it, accepting it, living it, one day at a time, one moment at a time, one kiss at a time. Grace smiles, closes her eyes, breathes, survives through. The hearing happens on a Wednesday. Bright autumn morning, leaves changing colors, air crisp. Grace dresses carefully, professional, maternal, strong. Finn brings the recordings, plays them in court. Derek's voice fills the room, his plans, his cruelty, his calculated evil. The judge's face darkens with each recording. By the fifth one, she holds up her hand. I've heard enough, Judge Morrison says. Mr. Holloway, these recordings are damning. They show clear intent to harm Mrs. Brennan. Clear manipulation. If he ever loved her at all. Outside the window, the city lights twinkle. Cars pass on the street below. Life continues. Normal. Mundane. While Grace's world shatters into pieces she doesn't know how to put back together. At 3 in the morning, her phone buzzes. A text from Derek. Staying at the office. Paperwork. Love you. Grace stares at the message. Love you. 2 words. Meaningless. Empty. Lies wrapped in pretend affection. She doesn't respond. Just sets the phone face down on the table. Watches the monitors instead. Her heartbeat? The baby's heartbeats. 2 small lives depending on her. 2 reasons to keep breathing, keep fighting, keep surviving. Dawn breaks slowly. Pink light creeps across the hospital room. Grace watches the sunrise, thinks about new beginnings, about endings, about the strange space between where she exists now. Not quite dead, not quite living, just suspended, waiting. For what, she doesn't know yet. But something has to change. Clear disregard for your children's welfare. Derek stands, pale, panicked. Your Honor, those recordings are out of context, taken when I was emotional. Stressed. I never actually meant. Sit down, Mr. Holloway, Judge Morrison snaps. I'm issuing a restraining order. You are not to contact Mrs. Brennan except through attorneys. Visitation is suspended pending psychological evaluation. You will undergo a full assessment before any contact with your daughters is considered. Your Honor, please, Derek begs. Those are my daughters. You tried to profit from your wife's death, Judge Morrison says, voice cold. You manipulated your mistress. You showed zero regard for these children's welfare. Until you prove you're fit, you have no access. This court is adjourned. Gavel bangs. Final. Absolute. Grace can barely breathe. She won. Fully, completely. Her daughters are protected. Derek is banned. Finn hugs her. We did it. It's over. Is it? Grace asks. Really over? This phase is, Finn says. Derek will appeal. He'll fight. But these recordings make it nearly impossible for him to win. You're safe, Grace. Your daughters are safe. Marcus waits in the hallway. Grace walks to him. He opens his arms. She steps into them, lets herself be held, lets herself feel safe. Thank you, she whispers, for everything, for saving us. You saved yourself, Marcus says. I just provided resources. They leave together, drive back to the estate. The guest house feels different now, not temporary. Home. Patricia visits that afternoon, hears about the hearing, cries. I'm ashamed, Patricia says, of what I raised, of who Derek became. You didn't make him this way, Grace says gently. Derek made his own choices. Still, Patricia says, I enabled him, looked the other way. I'm sorry. They sit together. Patricia holds Emma. Grace holds Lily, grandmother, mother, daughters, family, complicated family, but family nonetheless. Can I still visit, Patricia asks, even though Derek is banned? Of course, Grace says, you're their grandmother. They need you. Patricia cries harder, grateful, relieved. She stays for dinner. Marcus joins them. They eat together, talk, laugh, normal evening, normal family dinner. After Patricia leaves, Marcus helps clean up. They work in comfortable silence. Dish routine established. Grace washes. Marcus dries. Familiar. Domestic. Right. I've been thinking, Marcus says carefully, about us. Grace's heart speeds. Yeah. This arrangement was supposed to be temporary, Marcus says, but Grace, I don't want it to be temporary anymore. Grace stops washing, turns to him. What are you saying? I'm saying this stopped being fake around month 2, Marcus says. Echoes his earlier confession. For me, it stopped being business when I realized I looked forward to seeing you every day. When I started making excuses to come to the guest house. When I couldn't imagine you leaving. Grace's hands shake. Marcus, I'm not asking you to love me, Marcus says quickly. I know you're healing. I know Derek damaged you. I'm just saying I want to try. Real marriage, real partnership, real everything. If you're willing. Grace doesn't know what to say. Part of her wants to run, protect herself, avoid potential pain. But bigger part wants to stay, wants to try, wants to believe in second chances. I'm terrified, Grace admits. The last time I trusted someone with my heart, he tried to profit from my death. I'm not Derek, Marcus says firmly. I would never hurt you, never use you, never abandon you. You can't promise that, Grace says. People change, situations change, hearts change. Then I promise to try, Marcus says, to show up every day, to choose you every day, to fight for us even when it's hard. That's all anyone can promise. Grace looks at him, really looks, sees the man who saved her, who chose her, who stayed when leaving was easier. Okay, she whispers, let's try. Marcus's face lights up. Hope, joy, relief. He pulls her close, kisses her. Deeper this time, less tentative, more certain. They break apart. Both breathe hard. This is insane, Grace says, smiles. We're insane. Completely, Marcus agrees. But I don't care. Me neither. That night, they talk until dawn. About everything. Childhood, dreams, fears, Sarah, Derek, loss, hope. They peel back layers, show scars, offer vulnerability. By morning, Grace feels lighter. Known, seen, accepted. The babies wake, both crying. Grace and Marcus move as team. Feed, change, soothe, parents, partners, together. Lily looks at Marcus, smiles. Huge gummy smile, his first time seeing it. Marcus freezes, emotions wash over his face. She smiled at me, he says, voice thick. She actually smiled. She knows you, Grace says, knows you love her. I do, Marcus says, both of them. They're not mine biologically. One day at a time, build our life, raise these girls, love each other. It's not complicated. It feels complicated, Grace says. That's because you're overthinking, Marcus says, bum. Sometimes about always is simple. You choose it, you nurture it, you protect it. That's all. Grace wants to believe him, wants it to be simple. Maybe it can be. Maybe she can let go of fear. Trust again, love again. Okay, Grace says. Simple. I can do simple. Good, Marcus says. Because I have a question. What? Marcus takes her hand, serious, nervous. I know we're already married, legally, but Grace, I want to do it again. Real wedding, real vows, real commitment. Will you marry me for real this time? Grace stares, shocked, overwhelmed, happy. You want a real wedding? She asks. With me? With you, Marcus confirms. With Lily and Emma, with our family. I want to stand in front of everyone and promise to love you. Not as arrangement, as choice. Will you let me? Grace doesn't hesitate.